Okay, so first, like I said in my post, I did just want to take like a couple minutes if anybody wants to recognize anyone on their team, whether they're on this call or not. I think that they'll probably watch the recording. So if anybody wanted to shout someone out, now's the time. You can just unmute yourself, give a little wave, put it in the chat. No, nothing. Oh, Nicole.
I just want to shout out Kim. She is one of Darlene's newest coaches. Yay, Kim, you're on here. And for the first time, like Darlene had to skip out on our team call on Tuesday, and she led our call for the first time. So just super proud that she stepped up to the plate, took on that role, and she did a great job.
That's awesome. Kim, I saw that actually on Darlene's Insta stories, and I thought that was so cool that you guys all showed up without her and did a call. I think that's really awesome. So good job. Anyone else?
Can you close that door?
Oh. Rachel, I think you're not muted.
Oh.
Anyone else? I will just quickly shout out some of my coaches. I have in a little message pod together, and they're called the Level Up. And I just wanted to shout them out because they're just doing amazing things and supporting one another and just showing up. And I think that that is really awesome and just building like an awesome team culture together. So I'll shout out those ladies in my Level Up group. Anyone else? Okay, I'm just gonna make sure everybody's muted. All right, so I also wanted to just mention that next week we do have a webinar, like a Team Fitnique coaching webinar. So make sure that you guys are starting to talk to people about that, invite to it, start like sprinkling some breadcrumbs in your social media, because it is next Wednesday, I believe. So like less than a week away. So now is the time. Like don't wait until Tuesday to start inviting or to start talking about coaching. You have to be breadcrumbing that stuff now, and start getting a list together. Start thinking about who you would like to have on that live webinar for them to hear about what it is that we do. The recording will be available. So of course you can send that out to people who can't get on there, but just make sure that you're aware of always what's coming in the coming weeks for your social media, for what you're going to invite to, what you're going to post about. The other thing that I wanted to talk about, and you're probably going to hear me mention it a few times, and if you're one of my coaches, you know I talk about it all the time, but the tracker. You guys, please tell me that you use this, that you fill it out, that it is like your Bible. Like mine from last week has like coffee stains, it's torn at the bottom, like this thing is a mess, but I am not too good for the tracker. I am not above using the tracker. I still use the tracker. Yes, I go through like ebbs and flows with it, but at the end of the day, it is the one thing that keeps me consistent. It keeps me on my game, and it ensures that I see success in this business. And even like, it's like a mindset thing for me. When I fill out my tracker, I don't carry this weight around all day of like, did I do enough? Have I moved my business forward? Am I forgetting something? Like I can just literally get in, do my work, check it all off, and move on with the day instead of like holding it here. Like, I don't know if you guys know what I mean by that, but like holding it and be like, oh God, I should be working my business, but like, did I work my business enough? Or is there more that I need to be doing? That sort of thing. So for me, it's like, it lifts all the anxiety of this business off of my shoulders, and it's here. And as long as I am doing it and checking it off, I know that I'm moving my business forward. So I hope that you guys are using this. If you're not using this and you're not seeing success, you have no one to complain to, or you have no reason to complain, because you're not moving forward, because you're not filling out your tracker. So there's my tough love about that. And now let's dive in. So I've got some notes here. I it might get like a little like deep what I'm going to talk about, but that's okay. And I think that it's always an opportunity for us to like really reflect on things and like think about things and just learn different ways of thinking in this business, but also in our life. So I am reading with my team Atomic Habits. I'm also reading this with the ladies in my accountability group. So we're doing a book club for August, and this book is amazing. I read it last week. No, 2 weeks ago when I was away on holiday. So I was like, for 7 days, had no access to my phone, computer, nothing. So like I could read a lot. So I started and finished this book, and it was amazing. So I knew that I wanted to pass it along to my team and to my challengers as well. So what I'm going to talk about tonight is probably the number one thing that stood out for me in this book. And it literally is one chapter. Like what you're about to take in tonight was one chapter of this book. So I hope that you realize like the amount of information that is in here, and it is so valuable. So I recommend that you guys all put this on your list, and, you know, make a point to read it in the future for sure. If you guys can just make sure that you're muted. Okay. So I think that we can all agree that creating habits and changing our current habits is very hard, but it is not impossible. And tonight I hope that you'll see that you'll see that maybe why you failed in the past to create any habits, and then you can start to sort of change your way of thinking so that you can create some solid habits in this business, but also in your entire life. What I discovered when I read this part of the book is that I have been creating habits the wrong way. And I'm sure that you guys will start to discover that as well. So let me explain a little bit about what I'm going to dive into. So there are 3 layers to behavior change. Hopefully you guys have like a notebook that you guys can write in. And also, like, if you have your journal handy, that would be great too. I should have said that at the beginning, but there's some things you're probably going to want to write down, and I'm going to actually have you write down some things at some point too. So the first layer of behavior change is changing your outcome. So this is usually what we focus on when we start to think about setting goals, changing our behaviors, is changing the outcome. So for example, losing weight, earning a certain amount of income every week, hitting Success Club, rank advancing, having a stronger marriage, waking up early. Those are all the outcome that we want to have. So that's the first layer of changing our behavior. The second layer is changing the process. So this basically means changing your habits and your systems, basically like the action that you take in order to achieve the outcome. So for example, starting a new workout program, creating business hours, scheduling in a date night, creating a morning routine. Those are changing your process. So for example, like to kind of tie it together, if you want to lose weight, which is like the outcome you want, you need to commit to a workout program. If you want to, what did I just mention? If you want a stronger marriage, maybe the action you need to take is scheduling in a date night every once in a while. If you want to wake up early, you need to create a morning routine. So does that kind of make sense? Like, this is all stuff we know. So what I'm going to tell you guys tonight isn't anything that you don't know already. I'm just going to change your way that you think about these things so that you can create habits that actually stick. So the third layer is changing your belief. So changing into the person you believe you are. So the first one, just to go over that, is changing your outcome. That's what we usually focus on: losing weight, hitting a certain goal. And then the second layer is changing your process. So your systems, your action. And then the third is changing your belief. So changing into the person who you believe you are. So when it comes to building habits, most of us are doing this wrong, which is why we have such a hard time changing our habits. We actually do this backwards. And You probably do it backwards. I do it backwards. We start to think about what we want to achieve. So bringing it into the business, for example, we want to hit Success Club. That is something we want to achieve. We want to hit Success Club. So then we start to figure out, okay, what do I need to do in order to hit Success Club? And the process would be using the tracker, setting business hours, posting on social media. Like those are all the things that we would do in order to hit our goal. And then if we hit Success Club, or when we hit Success Club, we believe that we are successful, right? So we want to hit Success Club. That's what we focus on. We figure out what we need to do. And then when we accomplish that, we believe we are a successful coach. Am I right? Like that's kind of what our thought process is. So unfortunately, what ends up happening is, a lot of people on our team don't hit Success Club, right? So people say, okay, I'm going to hit Success Club and this is what I'm going to do. And then the end of the month comes and you haven't hit Success Club. So there's a problem with that whole belief system and that whole pattern of creating change. And it's not just in hitting Success Club, it's in anything. We want to become a morning person. Well, does that habit stick? For a lot of people, no. So a good example of this is two different people. Two people are trying to quit smoking. So they're in like the very early stages of trying to quit smoking. They are both offered a cigarette. And the first person says, like, no, thank you, I'm trying to quit smoking. So he still identifies himself as a smoker. He is hoping his behavior will change, but meanwhile, he still is carrying around the same belief. He still believes he's a smoker, but he's just trying to quit smoking. So the second person is offered a cigarette and he says, no thanks, I don't smoke. So he doesn't even identify himself as a smoker anymore. Even though he is in the same stage as the first guy, he's trying to quit. He's fighting all the urges. He was a smoker not too long ago, but he isn't even identifying himself as a smoker anymore. His belief that he is not a smoker is coming first. So most of us will never get where we want to be in this business and in life because we never shift the way that we look at ourselves. So this is where it kind of becomes a little bit deep and a little bit of a gut check, but I truly believe that this stuff can make the difference for all of us. So we need to realize that our old identity or the current identity we have for ourselves is actually sabotaging our plans for change. I'm going to repeat that. We need to realize that our old identity or our current identity is sabotaging our plans for change. So whatever it is you think of yourself right now is creating your identity. We're going to get into that a little bit later. So let's look at another example. So you may want to have more money in your bank account, but if your identity is someone who spends rather than saves, you will never become someone who has money in their bank account. You may want to become a morning person, but if you continue to prioritize being comfortable over productive, you will likely stay in bed instead of getting up at 5 a.m. So the reason why changing our habits are hard is because we never change the underlying beliefs that led to our past behavior. So I'm going to repeat that. The reason why changing our habits are hard is because we never change the underlying beliefs that led to our past behaviors. So I might set a new goal and a new plan, but if I actually haven't changed who I am, I probably will not achieve it. So let's start talking a little bit about behavior. So what you do is an indication of the type of person you believe you are. I'm going to repeat it again. What you do is an indication of the type of person you believe you are. I hope you guys let that sink in because I have read this stuff over and over and over again. And it just like keeps hitting me. What you do is an indication of the type of person you believe you are. So this can either be negative in our life or it can be positive. So let's start to look at some examples of like the way that this can be negative in our life. So here's some examples for the business. I can't get up early. I'm not a reader. Like I hear that from people all the time, like, oh, I have to listen to Audible. I'm not a reader. I'm terrible with Instagram stories. I get so distracted. I need more accountability. So when you start to believe you start to believe that is who you are when you say those things. So when you say, oh, I'm not a reader, you become that person. You will never become somebody who reads because you are identifying yourself as a non-reader. So here are some things I say to myself because I am not perfect. And I think the reason why this book, like why I'm obsessed with it so much is because I had so many aha moments about my own life that I have actually started to create changes around it. And it's made some like not massive improvements, but it started to make some small shifts in the way I think and the way I act. So some things that I was saying to myself and still am, I'm still trying to work on them, is I'm addicted to sugar. I'm not productive in the evening. I suck at cardio. I'm not a good leader. So these are all things that I was battling with and am still battling with. Those are kind of like my biggest stories, beliefs about who I am. I believe I'm addicted to sugar. I believe that I'm not productive in the evening. I believe that I suck at cardio. I believe that I'm not a good leader. So what happens? I have identified myself as that person. I have identified myself as the person who is addicted to sugar. So that means that anytime dessert is served or anytime I'm around any type of sweets, I believe that I'm addicted to sugar, so I can't say no. And that is the story I tell myself. That is the belief. That is who I am, according to me. And, I suck at cardio. So every time I press play and it's cardio, I believe that I'm the type of person who sucks at cardio. So what does that look like? That means I give a pretty weak effort for cardio. I usually never finish a rep in the cardio because I suck at cardio. I hate cardio. So I never finish my cardio workout. Sometimes that means I quit halfway through. Sometimes that means I keep it running while I go pour my kids a bowl of cereal because I suck at cardio. That is who I identify myself as. So what I want you guys to do right now is grab your notebook, grab your journal, and I want you to think about what negative identities you are associating yourself with. And I would also love if you guys started to put some of those things into the chat thread because I think we can all probably learn. Like I might pick up on one of yours and be like, oh my gosh, I actually identify myself as that as well. And maybe some of the things I said, you're like, whoa, yeah, she's right. The whole me not being productive in the evening, it's a load of crap. I can be productive in the evening, but I have labeled myself as somebody who cannot be productive in the evening. So I'm going to shut up now and I'll give you guys 4 or 5 minutes, or I'll kind of check the energy here, but put some stuff in the chat when you're done putting it in your notebook. Okay, you guys can keep putting stuff in if you haven't yet, but like, thank you guys for being so like open and honest and vulnerable. This is really, really great. And I hope that you have all wrote this stuff down in your own journal. And I want you to come back to this because obviously we can't go into everything. And I'm not going to go and address all of these things and give solutions because that's not what this is about. This is about you realizing who you want to be. Okay. And it's about who you are identifying yourself as right now. And you guys have all put in there who you're identifying yourself as. You believe those things, and your actions are more than likely in alignment with who you think you are. Because mine are. When I press play on cardio, my actions are in alignment with who I think I am. I'm the person who sucks at cardio. So for every little point that you put in there, you can take it apart now. Every little bullet point that you had, I want you to, like, in your journal, you can put, one of those points on one page and you start like cutting it up now. And the next one on the next page and cut that one up. Okay. So I hope what I'm saying is actually making sense and kind of hitting home for you guys and making you go, oh shoot. Like, I guess it's obvious why I am never going to level up, why I'm never going to see the level of success I want, why I feel like I'm struggling so much in this business and maybe even in areas of your life because of who you're identifying yourself as. So we're just going to leave that for now, but I really do hope you guys like come back to this stuff for sure. So your habits are how you embody your identity. Your habits are how you embody your identity. You become that person. So for example, when you make your bed every day, you embody the identity of an organized person. When you fill out your tracker each day, you embody the identity of a successful coach. When you create a monthly budget, you embody the identity of someone who has control over their finances. So your habits are how you embody your identity. I know that's like all really wordy, but whatever your identity is right now, it is only because you have proof. So whatever your identity is right now, it is only because you have proof. So for example, I am a morning person. I can say that I'm a morning person. And the reason why I can say that is because I have proof. For the last 3-4 years, I have woken up every single day at 5 a.m. and thrived. I am a morning person. I have proof. I suck at cardio. I can say that because I have proof. I never finish a rep in cardio. I usually press pause. I usually quit. I have proof that I suck at cardio. So you have your identity because you have proof, right? You get distracted easily on social media. That's your identity. You have proof because every time you go on social media, you probably are scrolling and wasting time. You have proof. So therefore, you are somebody who gets distracted on social media. So now that we all know this, we can decide who we want to become. And this is when like some light bulbs can go off, and this is when things can become fun and exciting for you. So for example, this is like very generic, but let's say I want to become a healthy person. That is who I want to become. I am not a Beachbody coach. I do not work out. That's what we're pretending right now. I want to become a healthy person. So I'm going to start to ask myself, what would a healthy person do? I'm going to ask myself that question all day long in every decision that I make. So for instance, when I am heading out, am I going to walk or am I going to take a cab? Well, what would a healthy person do? When I sit down at the restaurant to order lunch, am I going to order tacos or am I going to order a grilled chicken salad? What would a healthy person do? So if I start acting like a healthy person, eventually I will become a healthy person. If I am acting like a healthy person, I have proof that I am a healthy person. And if I have proof, if my actions are proving that I'm a healthy person, I am going to identify myself as a healthy person. So your habits shape your identity, and your identity shapes your habits. Your habits shape your identity, and your identity shapes your habits. So, for example, what would a 2-star diamond coach do? If you want to be, successful in this business and start rank advancing and growing your own team, you need to start thinking, okay, what would a 2-star diamond coach do? In all of your interactions in your day, you start asking yourself, what would a 2-star diamond coach do? And I kid you not, I did this when I was an emerald coach. I asked myself, what would a diamond coach do? I even did a call, like you could probably find it on my YouTube channel, 3.5 years ago, before I was a diamond coach, or maybe I had just hit diamond, and it was something about like having a diamond mindset. And so it's similar to this. So acting as though. So what would a 2-star diamond coach do? When she sits down to work, what would a 2-star diamond coach do? She probably isn't wasting time because she's got a team. She's got a team that is looking up to her to see success. She is leading a pack. She is leading a tribe. She's setting the example. She's setting the pace. That's what a 2-star diamond coach is doing. She is reaching out to people. She is consistent. She's filling out her tracker. She's following up. She is inviting. She is posting with confidence. She's talking about her team. You all have a team. Whether you just signed up yesterday, you are part of a team, you have a team. Talk about your team. So that is what a 2-star diamond coach would do. So if you want to be successful in this business, start asking yourself that every single day. Does a 2-star diamond coach sleep in and like not get up and not do her tracker and then kind of complain about like nothing really working? That's not what a 2-star diamond coach does. She gets in, gets her work done, and gets out. Whoa, I went way off my notes here, sorry. Okay, that was, I guess, all the examples I had for that one. But we can go through this with like so many different things. If you want to become a morning person, what does a person who is a morning person do? What does she do? She probably goes to bed at a decent time. She makes waking up at whatever time, 5 a.m., non-negotiable. It does not matter. She is getting up. She has a solid morning routine. That's what somebody who is a morning person does. So start to think about the identities that you guys all just dropped in here. I'm pretty sure that you don't want to have that identity anymore. That's my guess, is like you do not want those negative identities. So what identities do you want? Here are just some examples that I asked myself. And seriously, when I read this book, I like immediately went and grabbed my journal when I got to this part, and I was like dumping this stuff out because it was like, oh my gosh, this is so simple, but just the way it was explained clicked for me. So for instance, this might sound silly to some of you, but how would a loving wife treat her husband? That was one of the things that I wrote down, because sometimes I feel like when my husband comes home from work, it's like dinner time and I am irritable and I don't even give him the time of day. And I'm pissed off that he puts his lunch pail in the middle of the counters and, like leaves his coffee cup right there, and I'm like, ooh, already, right? And then I just like go about the rest of my evening. It's like he's an inconvenience because he came home at dinner time. So what does a loving wife do? That's not how she acts. So I've identified myself as a person who becomes very irritable with her husband every day. So what does a loving wife do? And I actually started to write out things that a loving wife would do. And so I wrote out those things. And then I moved on to my next thing. What does someone who isn't a sugar addict do? What does that person do who's not addicted to sugar? She probably says no to dessert very easily and effortlessly. She probably doesn't have a pantry full of temptations. She might even have like some fruit after dinner as her dessert and even say that these cherries taste like candy. Like I would hear people say that, I'd be like, no, they don't. Candy tastes like candy. Like a cherry gummy tastes like candy. That tastes like fruit. But that's probably what somebody who is not a sugar addict does. So again, I wrote out all of these things. A sugar addict, can go out for ice cream with her kids and happily eat some of her kids' ice cream and doesn't have to get the biggest cone available and eat that and then eat her kids' leftover ice cream. What would a confident leader do? I want to identify myself as a confident leader. So what does that type of a person do every day? I start to ask myself that questions. Well, what would a confident leader do? What would a conscious parent do? I'm really big into conscious parenting, and I have been for a little while, but I'm not perfect. But what would a conscious parent do? When her child is like throwing a hissy fit, what would a conscious parent do? When a conscious parent is like drowning with her children, what does she do? She probably doesn't throw a fit and start screaming like the toddler. She is present. She shows kindness. She shows love. She gets down to their level. Like, I kid you not, I wrote out all of this stuff and I took the time. And if you tell yourself you don't have time, you're identifying yourself as someone who has a lack mindset with time. Okay? So what I want you guys to do now is I want you to start writing out in your journal, in your notebook, as well as the chat, what type of person do you want to become? Who do you want to become? What do you want your identity to be? So once you've gotten it into your notebook, into your journal, you can put some of those things in the chat if you want. Okay, awesome. Thank you guys for putting all of that in there. And again, I want you to all come back to this because, of course, we cannot do it all on this call. But now you have identified who you want to be. So you need to start asking yourself the question constantly, what would that person do? So I'm just going to grab this one. I want to inspire others. So if you want to be the person who inspires others, well, what does that person do? Like, what does a person who's inspiring, what does she do? She's probably confident. She probably, is sharing a lot of knowledge. She, in the business sense, she is probably sharing her transformation, sharing her wins. She is offering her help. She's showing up daily. That is somebody who inspires someone. Somebody who is complaining and not showing up, or has a lack mindset, or is like, not a happy, energetic being, that's not inspiring someone, right? So we have to always be thinking, what does that person do? If I want to embody that and become that, what are my steps that I need to take? So every single one of those things you guys put, again, you need to like break it down and start dumping all of that stuff out. The thing is, there's going to be just a few of you who actually get off this call and take the time to do it either tonight or tomorrow or this weekend. But this is what can make the difference. Because if we do not have belief in any of these things, if you do not have belief in yourself, you're never going to get to the next level in any area of your life. You simply won't. So to kind of circle everything back together and hopefully make sense of this all, because God, I hope I'm making sense. It makes sense in my brain, and then I start talking about it and I'm like, am I making any sense? But when you start to ask yourself, what would a blank person do? So what would a healthy person do? Or what would a top coach do? You start to make different choices. You will start to make different choices. The person who wants to become healthy and asks, what would a healthy person do right now? She's going to make different choices. So if you ask yourself, what would a successful coach do? You're going to start making different choices. I guarantee you won't sit there and like scroll and like go, oh, I'm not good enough, they're better than me. But you won't do that. You will take different action. So when you ask yourself that, what would a blank person do? You start to make different choices and you start to create proof in your life. You start to create that proof. And that is your new identity. Because when you start to see proof, you start to believe that that can be your new identity. And like we talked about at the very, very beginning, when you believe, when you have that belief of who you are, your process, your action starts to change. And then your outcome will change. This is tying it all back to the beginning. So I'll just kind of repeat that. So when you have belief, because you've started to see some proof, your actions will continue to change, and then your outcome will change. Your outcome won't change just with action alone, because you won't ever believe it. Like you won't ever believe, like, so why is it for 4 years I've been pressing play and for 4 years I have sucked at cardio? I don't want to suck at cardio. Like I actually would like to have my body change. Like I haven't had a transformation really, like since I started, because I had a baby. Like, you know what I mean? My body has not changed, and it's capable of changing. I'm not like, I don't rock the 6-pack abs or anything, nor do I want to. But what I'm saying is for 4 years, I have sucked at cardio, even though every time I attempt, I'm like, okay, today's going to be the day where I'm not going to suck, but I keep sucking, even though I want the outcome to be different. I have never believed that I'm the person who can rock a cardio workout. When you start to believe, and this morning was a good example, and if you were on Zoom, I talked about this a little bit after, because I was like feeling fired up because I rocked the cardio workout. Like I did. Was that this morning or yesterday? Whatever day it was. I have now some proof. I have proof that I don't suck at cardio. So the next time I go to do cardio, I'm going to prove it to myself again. And then I'm going to start to believe that I am the person who can do cardio, that can like really rock cardio. And then my actions will continue to change. I'm just going to be that person who can bust out a cardio workout. And then I'm going to get the outcome I want. My body will start to change. Not the other way around, because I've been trying to do it the other way around for 4 years. I've been trying to break my sugar addiction for 4 years because I don't want to be addicted to sugar. So I try to stay away from the sugar. I try to not buy the sugar. Instead, I need to believe that I am the person who does not have a sugar addiction. I need to ask myself every single day, what does that person do? The person who's not addicted to sugar, what does she do? What are her actions? And I start to slowly take those actions, and I have started to show myself proof that I'm not a sugar addict. So my actions continue to change, and eventually I will get my desired outcome. You can take this formula with anything, with being a 2-star diamond coach. I'll break that one down just because it'll be interesting. So if you want to become a 2-star diamond coach, you start asking yourself, what would a 2-star diamond coach do? She's going to fill out the tracker. So you start doing that. You start to catch yourself scrolling and be like, oh, nope, a 2-star diamond coach. She wouldn't be doing that. She wouldn't be wasting time. She's effective. She is confident. Okay, I'm going to post more confidently. I'm going to talk about this business with confidence, because that's what a 2-star diamond coach does. And you start to create proof to yourself. So you start to believe that you could be a 2-star diamond coach. You start to believe that you are a successful coach. And then your actions continue to change because you believe that you are a successful coach. And before you know it, you are rank advancing, you are earning an income, you are growing a team, and you are the person who is a 2-star diamond coach. Does that make sense? Hopefully it eventually all made sense. Okay, any questions at all? Okay, I just hope that you guys, like, I truly believe that this is, like, we can do team calls all the time. We can provide training. You can watch every YouTube video, but if you never believe that you can be successful, you will never be successful. It does not matter how hard you try, how like many calls you watch, how many posts you do. If you do not believe that that is who you are, it will not happen. And I know that because it just took me in this business to like shift. And I was like, oh my God, I can do this. I believe it. And I remember, and I still feel it in my belly, like fire burning, like energy, like this like thing will not go away. And it hasn't gone away since I started feeling it. I was like, I believe it so bad. When I was working so many hours at this business and making $0, because like the amount of time you put in does not pay off for a while. Like you're making like 5 cents an hour some days. Like I believed with all my core that I was going to be successful. So it started to happen because I believed it. I believed I was a successful coach. I started acting as though I had a successful team before I had a team. Okay, I could just keep going on and on, so I'll stop talking. The book, like the Atomic Habits, Courtney, this is the book. And this is what we're, reading for our book club. Okay, thanks, Kim. That is sweet of you to say. Okay, if you guys have any questions, you can always message me. But I hope you guys like just make some big shifts, and it's not going to be immediate, right? Like you're going to every day something else is going to click, but stick with this stuff. Read the book and just keep like, okay, wait, what would that person do? What would that person do? And it takes a while. It's not overnight success. Okay, good night, you guys. We will talk soon.